it's Lori. Welcome to Laura's World. I am doing this interview from Palm Springs, California today with a woman that I have never met. Is good friends with some friends that I know, and she is willing to share her story with us, and I'm very excited about it. So let's give her a few minutes to get in, and we'll take it from there. I'm excited. Hi, Allison.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good.
So, Allison, welcome to Laura's World.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. And I love to share stories with people because, I've been in AA for the past 11 years and I know it's Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was always very quiet about it, in the beginning. I don't ever want to, I always want to still like keep people anonymous if they want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
But the longer I'm in recovery, and the more that I see and the more people that stay silent about it, it's wreaking havoc all over the place. And I just feel like, if we could share our stories that may help one person, then, we've done something,
For sure.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how long you've been sober and what it was like for you. And yeah, she's like, all right.
Where do I begin? So my sobriety date is November 11th, 2003. So I have just over 17 and a half years sober. I got sober when I was 28 years old, and I came in basically through the rooms of Al-Anon. I had 2 years and 2 months of Al-Anon before I ended up realizing that I was an alcoholic. I moved to LA in 1999, and I got engaged pretty quickly. I was 23, almost 24 years old. He was a heroin addict, and he told me he was sober. And I had never really been around active heroin use. So I assumed that if he wasn't doing heroin, he could still smoke weed and he could still drink and we could still have fun and party that way. And then, cut to no, that is not sobriety. And basically I describe myself as a periodic blackout binge drinker.
Okay.
And I really talk about that a lot, especially when I am speaking in meetings, because I think that some people, and I know I was one of those people, because like I said, I came in through Al-Anon. So I had 2 years of Al-Anon and learning about alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, because I'm not a daily drinker or because I'm not, drinking before work. And I think I showed up to work drunk once, and that was the next morning after a bad party night.
Okay.
I didn't even show up drinking. I just showed up still full of booze, and I always thought, well, because I don't drink every day and because I only black out occasionally and because I could put it down for months and months at a time, maybe I'm not really an alcoholic. But when I look back now, I used to always joke with my parents and be like, if you had an alcoholic kid, it would be me. And in college, I didn't drink for months at a time because my GPA was shit when I first went to college. And then my dad put me on academic probation. And so I didn't drink my entire second semester of school, but I was a daily pot smoker as well. So when I look back and it was like, you couldn't leave your apartment without getting high. You couldn't go to the studio without getting high. You couldn't go to a party without taking a couple puffs off of your one hitter. It was like, maybe that was an issue. So when I ended up coming to LA, I had just turned 24. It was my first birthday. I had just gotten engaged. And then I called that engagement off a couple months later. And he and I did the dance of death for the next couple of years. And through that, I, woke up on the edge of Topanga Canyon with my front tire half mooned and my car not being able to be driven out of the canyon. And not really, like, the tow truck guy was like, are you sure you're okay? Like you should be hurt. And I wasn't. So for me, like, that was my 26th birthday, and that was strike one. I swore off drinking and driving, and a couple of months later, I woke up on the rooftop of my friend's apartment building in West LA with a cat staring at me and thinking, like, how did I get up here and why am I still up here? And I guess I was so belligerent that my friends couldn't get me off the roof, so they gave me a pillow and blankets, and, I didn't roll off the roof that night. That was kind of a warning. I wouldn't even say I consider that a strike. And then I ended up getting sober 2.5 years later. I had walked into Al-Anon 2 months after that wake up on the rooftop.
What was the, why did you feel like you needed to go to Al-Anon? What
Because
was that?
everybody kept saying to me, you didn't cause this. You can't fix him.
Okay.
I always thought like I wasn't a strong enough woman. I wasn't lovable enough. I can't get him sober. Why isn't he staying sober for me?
Right.
And everyone's like, I think you need Al-Anon. And I was like, like, I don't need Al-Anon. He needs to get sober. And so I went into Al-Anon begrudgingly. So 9/11 happened on a Tuesday. I walked into therapy on a Thursday, and I walked into Al-Anon on a Sunday. Like, I was a good Al-Anon, right? I'm a people pleaser. So I had commitments. I did my steps. I showed up early. I stayed late. I spoke at meetings. I was a greeter. I was a cake girl. I was a chip girl. And they, he actually gave me my first big book, because they say in Al-Anon, like, read the AA literature, learn about alcoholism. You're going to realize it's a disease. It's not the person.
Okay.
And through working the steps for 2 years, cheering after my 4 steps, swigging wine, or, I showed up once to an Al-Anon after drinking, and this woman was
congratulations.
She's like, you're a little offensive. Like, you smell like booze. And I'm like, I don't have a problem. That's your problem. I was a feisty chick. And my sponsor is who I called on that strike too. So 2.5 years later, after a double winter meeting on a Friday night, where I was the chip girl and the cake girl and the greeter, I went out in Venice and I got hammered and I drove home totally drunk. The guy I was with, then he was like, please don't drive home. And I'm like, you know me, like, if I can stand, I can drive. And I clearly must have blacked out because I forgot to call him when I got home. I know I got pulled over by the police because I found a ticket on my floor stay. I pieced together that I got pulled over by the cops. And then I called my Al-Anon sponsor that Saturday morning and I was like, I think I might be an alcoholic. And she was like, okay. I think she had admitted later that she had been waiting for years for me to kind of realize my own.
Well, they say that it's, it's a self-diagnosed disease, and I hear a lot of people, well, I'm not that bad. I never missed work, and and I'm not, all the excuses that
I have a 740 credit score and I pay all my bills on time and I balance my checkbook every day and I have food in the fridge. And all of that was me controlling and trying to maintain and manipulate. So I didn't have to see how bad I was.
Yes, I totally get that. And you know what, Allison, it's, something else we have to do. And once you admit it out loud, there's no going back. There is no really going back. You say it out loud to somebody. I would say it a little bit in my head every once in a while, but to say it out loud, shit. Yeah. Now I got to do this now, because that's the other part of my personality. If I say something, I'm going to do it.
I got the shtilt that'll kill me. Like, I am like so bullheaded and stubborn. And like so I stayed in LA after this whole debacle with him to prove to my parents that I could stay in LA. Because everyone's like, come home, and I hate it. I never wanted to live in Los Angeles ever. Like, this was not the city of my dreams. This was like, I didn't want to act. I didn't want to be in the film business. I just wanted to get married.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's all I wanted. And that's the only reason why I ended up out here. And then now, 17 and a half years sober later, I believe divine intervention. I was brought to LA to honestly get sober because the way I drank, and I went to school in like Eastern Pennsylvania in Kutztown, and it was like farm town and small town, and it was kind of near Philly. And I really believe like I would have been like Salieri from Amadeus and just lived this like mediocre, gross life of never really achieving a goal and never really killing anybody from drinking and driving, but just like being that mom who picks her kids up drunk, who never really wanted to have kids in the first place.
I had this conversation with my brother last night about, feelings, who the hell wants to feel feelings, bad ones, bad ones,
Yeah.
and so that's, that's the, you push it to the side and push it to the side and push it to the side. And for me, I used drinking.
Mhm.
I drank away all my feelings. Oh, I'll deal with it
I'm also
later.
a shopper, so I try to shop away a lot of my feelings.
Well, that's why when I got sober, I switched,
Oh
to
yeah.
a crazy tea drinker, like every single, flavored tea, like yeah,
Amazing.
I had I had them all in my cabinet, all the flavors of the vodka, right?
Yeah.
And just shop, shop,
Yeah.
shop, shop. You switch one for
Oh,
another.
totally. I came into AA with $17,000 of debt. And by the time I hit 5 years sober, I had $54,000 of debt.
Wow.
Yeah. But everyone thought like I had my shit together because I looked good. My
Yeah.
my checkbook was balanced every day to the penny. But like I was living on borrowed money like all the time. And I still am not like that's still, I would say honestly, like my last frontier is finance. Like I'm not good with money. I don't yet understand the spiritual principles behind money. I believe like I can manifest money like a mother. Like I am a hustler. So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need money, I know how to make it,
Yep.
but I also love to spend it.
And it. Yeah.
So at 9 years sober, talking about feelings, at 9 years sober, I stole from AA. I stole the seventh tradition from a women's meeting because I just couldn't let people know what I was living with a guy and we were together for a long time and he was like a Peter Pan and he was like a pothead and like a normie, but he definitely not normal. And, I had quit my job and then he decided to quit his job and we couldn't pay our bills. And so I had just finished a treasury commitment and I was too embarrassed to ask people to help buy groceries. I stole the seventh tradition because like my commitment was over and I had the money orders to send off to the 3 areas and I cashed them. And I remember that like palpable rush of, wow, I got away with this. And I didn't tell anybody for a year. And then I told my sponsor at the time and I told another girlfriend, but my sponsor at the time, some people are terrified of her. And this woman, I really believe saved my life because I was like, I'm keeping a lot of secrets. I'm kind of misbehaving. And she has this thing called the feelings list. She's like, I have the feelings list and I want you to start using it to identify what you're feeling.
Okay.
Like, what? That sounds ridiculous. And it was like this 6-page document that I still have in my phone today from A to Z, all these words that describe feelings. And I would have to use this list to talk to her about things I was going through because I couldn't just be happy, mad, sad. I had to actually like start really getting behind the feelings of what's going on with the situation.
Okay.
And that changed my recovery. Like it really changed my recovery. And it also really changed the way that I sponsor people. Because I used to be really militant and diligent because that's how I was with myself,
Okay.
Controlling and if you don't do it this
Do
way,
this way. Yeah.
and at 10, 11 years
Oh my
sober
God, I do know.
when I was miserable
Mm-hmm.
and I stole from AA and I was keeping secrets, some old timer said, sweetie, if you don't start lightening up, you're going to get drunk. I was like, you.
Yeah.
But he was right because I had put myself into a straitjacket, and that's how I describe like that period from 9 to 12 is
Wow. Okay.
I had put myself in a straitjacket and every day I was cinching those straps tighter and tighter and I was causing my own misery. And I
Wow.
forgot how to laugh at myself and I forgot how to ask people for help and I forgot how to I was always like loud and would just share a bunch of shit in a meeting, but I wouldn't say the feelings. I wouldn't say, hey, I stole from you guys until I was 11 years sober and I paid that meeting back. And it was the hardest amends I've ever had to make.
But it's, we get a daily reprieve, Allison,
Totally.
and we don't do everything perfectly. And you try this or you try that. And, what I do now in sobriety is not what I did 11 years ago or 6 or
Yeah.
even maybe last year, and especially with all this going on with the pandemic, I'm doing a lot more Zoom meetings and,
Mhm.
they're cool. They're
I
really
actually
cool.
really like them too, because I don't have to work. Like I don't have to drive somewhere and then sit somewhere and then go to, and it's
Yeah.
like, I can just do it from
Yeah,
my
instead of
car
having
on
an
my way
hour,
home.
it's like really an hour and a half or 2 hours out of it,
Yeah.
instead of the 1 hour in your pajamas,
Yeah.
and, sitting there having a cup of tea and, with my feet up, and, I can go all over the world if I want, and,
Yeah. It's pretty
I
amazing.
really, really enjoy it a lot.
And I
So,
always say, like, if you're going to tell me you can't find a meeting, then you're really not willing, because
yes,
there are literally
yes,
meetings all over the world,
all over
any
the
time of
world.
the day.
Every single hour on the hour, you can
Yeah.
find them, you can
So
find them.
I agree. I love Zoom. I mean, I miss in person. I miss people,
Yes, I do.
but I used to never be home because I was always out, always doing stuff, always running, always,
Mhm.
always, always busy. And now this last year, I've actually started really loving to be home.
Yeah, it's
And I've
great, isn't it?
really been enjoying being home and just spending time with like
Yeah,
Paul and I. Like, I was laughing. I was like, I never sat in the backyard and talked to you this much ever. We
yeah.
talk all the time, but now it's like every day.
Yeah, it's
I come
great,
home
isn't it?
from
It's
work and he's on the
different. Yeah,
porch with the dogs,
I'm
and
starting to feel the same way, and it's like,
yeah,
wow, And even if I had a really long day at work, sometimes I wouldn't even go to a meeting.
right,
Yeah, I'll go tomorrow,
mhm,
And now I have no excuse but to go
right,
because it's right there. You
right
just
there.
sign in and sit back. You don't even have, you just could just listen. You don't
I
have to
know.
participate, but I always hear something great,
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
And I've heard some really great things just now, and it's really great to meet you.
So lovely to meet you.
I'm
So
so
lovely.
happy we got to do this. Thank you for doing this,
Of
darling.
course, of
All
course.
right.
Enjoy your time in Palm
I
Springs.
will. I will. Thank you
Enjoy the
so
sunny
much.
weather. Well, it was
I love it
lovely
too.
to meet you. I
Very
look
nice
forward
to
to
meet
keeping
you
in touch.
too. All right, Allison.
Right.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Welcome.
one.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.